So I'm going to try to find a way to say this without triggering any social media algorithms. So antibiotic resistance equals T cell, B cell programming memories against whatever you use against the life in your body. So your body is made up of viruses, parasites, protozoa, proteins, fungus, and bacteria. Those are all the life forms that make up every aspect of your human body. And when you're taking anything that is programmed to destroy it, whatever aspect of it, okay? If you're taking anything that is antibiotic, anti-life, and it could be a very discriminatory part of the life in your body, or it could be just whatever life form that's in your body. It doesn't matter. Anything that's antibiotic, anti-microbial, anti-parasitic, anti-fungal, anti-bacterial, all will then create their own defense systems against that attack. And so when somebody has infection and they're taking something that's antibiotic, the body is going to build up resistance against the antibiotic. That's called antibiotic resistance. But people think it's because of the prescription drugs prescription drugs. They don't think about that tea tree oil mixed with coconut oil is antibiotic and can also create antibiotic resistance, which means that your body's producing antibodies against that specific algorithm that's attacking it. Chemotherapy, radiation is also antibiotic. And so then your body is also creating little microbes called B cells and T cells against the chemotherapy and against the radiation. Cannabis oil, the same thing. Any type of therapeutic, I don't care what it is, any immunotherapy, the body is going to create a resistance against it, which means that not only are you programming your body to create T cells and B cells against whatever algorithm you are programmed to be protected against, but then your body is also producing T cells and B cells against that specific therapeutic. And so your body's getting a double whammy, triple whammy of B cells and T cells being produced as it is being triggered by the environment. And so then you realize, wow, that's why I've always been against the antibiotics. Now, I couldn't articulate it in the way I'm doing today because I knew something was wrong. Antibiotics, is it putting it to sleep? Okay, well, it's doing that, yes. It's putting stuff to sleep. How does it put to sleep? Because when you create, when you cause the body to go after the life, because you're taking something that is then causing things to then be, to calm down the energy. You could take an antibiotic. It could be targeted with a specific, surgical type of laser type of thing, or it could be just going through your gut, your immune system, and destroying all the life with that antibiotic as it's going through your gut and then reverberating throughout the whole body. But then what happens is then the body, the microbes, whatever is being afflicted and being targeted or being affected by that anti-life thing, then they have to build up their own arsenal against that because they're under attack. And so while, yes, you get a temporary cure from whatever antibiotic programming, regardless of how it is programmed, if it's antibiotic against any part of your body, viruses, parasites, protozoa, protein, fungus, and bacteria, the body is going to develop a defense against it, an arsenal against it. And when people are not releasing the excess T cells and B cells from all the different programming that they've undergone as far as the therapeutics, but then when they go out there and hang out with a bunch of people who are undergoing various amounts of therapies that are programmed against their own food supply and their own environment, but then also you're breathing their stuff in, and then the body is taking on somebody else's programming. And if your body is weak or your immune system is weak, then somebody else's microbes will commandeer your own immune system. And then you might even develop an elemental allergy, a food protein allergy. And this is why there's so many allergies all over the world, because of the therapeutics market. And so that's how I'm going to say things in my book when you think about it. I might even go into specifics so I don't leave anything up to assumption. But I got to be careful on social media because they have their own algorithms to go against anything that doesn't go along the party line. And I get it, because some people will portray information as a very black and white, and they have to really bring in the nitty-gritty science behind it, not just their political views, which are very superficial and black and white. And so that's why I'm working my best on how to figure out how to say things in a more of a diplomatic, scientific way versus the emotional, political way, which is the algorithms pick up. So anything anti-inflammatory, anti-microbial, anti-parasitic, anti-bacterial, anti-fungal will trigger the immune system to build up antibiotic resistance against not only the life in your body, but also the elements and the proteins used to stimulate your immune system to cause a reaction. Because what is that reaction? When you're getting your immune system stimulated by some kind of constituent within a therapeutic, that's called developing B cells and T cells programmed against whatever that programming is that's being administered, but also any other element that is tied in, intertwined with that. And so it's a triple, quadruple whammy when somebody is doing something to stimulate their immune system against life in their body. Because you can't get away from viruses, you can't get away from parasites, protozoa, proteins, fungus, or bacteria. It's all part of your microbiome, your environment. And the salt water is what is the balancing force. Just like the ocean next to the fresh waters and the forests or the different lands, the ocean is the balancing force of the lands. And then when you get deep into like a tropical rainforest that isn't near any oceans, then you get all the tropical diseases, all the vector diseases, like from the mosquitoes, from all the different bugs that are carrying different types of viral programming that do upgrade people if they can assimilate to that. That's why people, when they go into the Congo or into the Amazon rainforest, they are inundated by so many microbes. And I could never be on that show called Naked and Afraid, because I'd be afraid that things crawling in my crevices. Oh, hell no. I would not be a whole Naked and Afraid, show. So that's the basic premise of why the therapies market is what causes the issues. They not only have they created the problem, but they have the solution that creates the problem. It is the Hegelian dialectic. That part is true. Because the more that you use the remedies and all the different therapies, the more you compound the problem to develop even more exotic allergies and diseases. And, at this great decline, maybe that's needed. Maybe, the system figured out that they have that they have conjured up so many types of intolerant people that they have to be very careful on how they go about scaling down the population without it being something that would be construed as an atrocity. And so first world people, we won't see what happens in third world countries because we're a first world country, or we're a little bit more, a little more advanced as far as that goes. And so when you're trying to scale down an advanced population, you have to rise up to the level of the intellect and be smarter and figure out how to psychologically manipulate people who are highly intelligent. Because I'm telling you, the layers and layers of programming in the first world is acknowledging how intelligent the population is. Okay? And so when an intelligent person is up to this level with so many layers of programming, For them to get down to the base prototype of what the real crux of the matter is, they have to peel back almost every year in every foundation, in every association, in every single political, religious, and scientific belief system that they've ever learned, and reconsider it and question it. And so when you have very highly educated people, that's very highly programmed people. And I wouldn't say that college is bad. I don't say no, college is not bad. So as long as we're teaching the basics. And the thing about college at this point in this society right now is that they're still going to promote the bottom line, which is that you're supposed to die someday, and if you feel a pain, go see your doctor, they'll give you a remedy. Because at some point, college is going to change the way they say things to the people. And when we get down to a very scant population at some point, I'm going to profess out there that they're going to talk about the salt and the water and the balancing forces of salt on all different life forms, that you don't have to turn to therapies or antibiotics or anti-microbials or anti-inflammatories to control the growth, that it's the fact that we have been turning to the cures is because we have 7.9 billion people who are mutating viruses, and the only way to really aggressively keep people cured is to then use aggressive antibiotics, of which then will have its own backlash, of which they're finding out. That's why we have the autism and all the different neurological diseases and exotic diseases. And so then when now you're trying to change the world from the old world into the new world, well, you can't tell everyone, well, we were wrong the last, 100 years. And so we're just going to go and, just change everything up and say, hey, we were wrong about the antibiotics. We were wrong about this. We were wrong about that. Viruses are not really the enemy. You have to feel pain and you have to eat food. And yeah, if you have a food allergy, you're going to have to deal with releasing those T cells and B cells through salt water and feeding your body and dealing with the pain of leveling up. They're not going to go and do that. So what do? They accelerate the expectation. So if you expect to pass away someday, that expectation will be accelerated because of how dynamic the environment was. Before, you were comfortable with a very certain timeline or a certain algorithm of between life and death. But now with how the system, whatever, these new viruses, COVID, has really triggered the immune system to then release everybody's defenses out there, and it's weaponized against all your food and all of your environment. Now it is people are going to be realizing their expectation. If you want to be cured, and cures are deadly, if you want to be cured out there circulating, well, you're not going to survive. Okay? If you want to live the way you've lived before prior to the COVID, you're not going to survive. When you realize to what extent how many microbes are actually attacking people's immune systems and their way of life, when you actually realize what the antibiotic resistant really is, and then you realize what causes people to pass away, which is the excessive B cells and T cells, then you're just like, now the rose-colored sunglasses are off. Now you're looking at reality for what it is. You look at every single person and you know exactly they have a war inside of them, and you're going to be breathing in that war, and you better have a strong body and a strong defense system so their microbes do not commandeer your immune system and start then creating the allergies and the diseases and the cancer. And so, I've got to find a way, which I will, I'm thinking about, because my introduction is going to be the crux of my intro, it has to be a very strong introduction, because then, yes, there's going to be a lot of stuff that I've written that is not going to be in my book, because I have to make this so to the point and not get lost in the details of the rabbit holes of just the constituents of how this world is made up. So anyways, I just wanted to put that out there, but So I figured out the answer of why we have food allergies and other allergies. And so, when we have schools that are opening up and kids and parents have their kids and each other, whatever, under so many different therapies, and the kids are breathing this in, and kids are also immunocompromised at a major deficit. Yeah, this whole thing of going back to normal and not wearing masks. I feel sorry for the kids today. I really do. They don't stand a chance. And with how aggressive this environment is, triggering the immune systems to release all those microbes that are weaponized against the food supply because of your immune system, using the plant-based therapies or using all the different elemental therapies. And now your body has programmed these microbes to then go after anything that has a protein in the walnuts or in the nuts or in the different foods like eggs and tomatoes and whatever, because of how you use the plant-based therapies, mixing the carrier oil with the more aggressive oils. Then you realize that these kids don't stand a chance. Not only will they have aggressive autism and other food allergies, but the childhood cancers and disease and obesity or emaciation rates will be that much more intense. And so, it's not going back to normal. I mean, yeah, things are going to go back to normal, but you're going to see then you're going to see that during the fall and the winter, there'll be an uptick of people passing away or triggering their cancer, disease, and chronic illness and autoimmune disorder and food allergies. And then you'll see, all the deaths that happen. And then you have the pressure building during the spring and the summer where everyone's hanging out together, going out together, hanging out and breathing each other's microbes and mixing in all that, the viruses and mutating them and making them more exotic. And then the fall and winter come around and bam, another cycle of deaths, another cycle of people hitting certain, phases of their decline, and then we'll realize them faster. And there won't be any amount of antibiotics or therapies be enough to stop the storm, because the storm is building on top of itself with 7 billion people mutating a very aggressive virus that has then activated their immune system to release all of their T cells and B cells. So we're sort of asleep before the COVID, but now the beasts and the giants and the demons, so to speak, have woken up, and they are in the atmosphere. And that's why you're seeing people becoming unhinged. Why you're seeing like a higher energetic reaction from your family and friends, whether it's biologically, intellectually, emotionally, physically, whatever. You're seeing a major reaction. And when someone wants to stay cured, they will use their antibiotics and their plastic surgery and Botox. Even more so, they will take part in the medical holistic system even more aggressively until the medical holistic system has nothing left to cure anymore. Because a person is so cattywampus that there's nothing that they can align with, as far as maybe an obese person. And someone who is so emaciated, there's no more substance left to go and do anything with. And then they end up in my world, and I'm like, you got to feed yourself. You got to feel the pain. And they're just like, screw you. I don't want to feel the pain. I don't want to eat. I just want to drink the J juice, not feel anything. Well, that's called rest in peace. And there's that side of the world too. That when somebody has exhausted everything in the holistic allopathic world, and they do a J juice as the Hail Mary, and then they pass away. Well, you came into my world completely rejected by the medical holistic system because they can't do shit for you anymore. Then you come into my world thinking that you're going to be cured and you're going to be great because the J juice is such the magic drink. And no, the J juice is a catalyst to release all those B cell and T cell memories, release all the different programming that's caused you to have the issues to begin with. And then now you got to eat all food in the food supply. But I'm a vegan and vegetarian. I'm an anti-GMO. I don't like sugar or salt or carbs or nightshades or oh, you name it. Let me tell you, I don't eat this and I don't eat that. I'm kosher. I'm against milk. I'm against meat. I'm against eggs. I'm against cheese. And I'm a heavy cannabis user. And I'm just like, dude, you don't need to be in my world. I don't want you in my world because you can't handle actually living. You're trying to be on this earth as a zombie and still get all the benefits, but not do any of the work. And then you want to have more time to be cured, but you have already exhausted your freaking credit. That's what goes on when people have exhausted all the resources in the medical holistic system. They have no more money in the bank account, or they don't have any more credit in their body to give up to the medical holistic system to go and cure stuff so they can go back in the game and be all like, oh, I'm going to get rich, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then they come to me and want me to go and fix them. And I'm telling you, you got to eat food, feel pain. And you got to get the poop out, and you can't be using J juice as a cure. And you got to feel the mucus, and you got to feel, and they're just like, I don't want to do that work. Well, screw you, then bye. Don't even waste my time. Don't waste your time. So, yeah. You know, every single time I go through a bout of pain, a bout of feeling another variant, it's another awakening. There is power and clarity when you finally face the pain, when you don't try to stop the pain, and when you feed the pain all food in the food supply and you're non-discriminatory. There is power in that. But only a few will realize that. Only a few. I could probably count on my hands the few people that are actually going to realize that. And so this is very interesting to watch. And so, yeah, I just wanted to cover this because we do live in a programmed society. Everybody's under so many different programming. I could be more superficial and say politics, religion, and science, but then there are sub-programming under the politics, religion, and science. And then you see all the offshoots, all of people's perceptions of what they think is going on politically, what they think is going on religiously, what they think is going on scientifically. And those are the rabbit holes. Those are the distractions, the rabbit holes. Because I'm watching a lot of my religious friends, they're all hanging out, whether it's the Hebrew for Christians or the Christian right with their huge congregation churches, and they're hanging out together. And then I think about the rapture, and I think about the Denver International Airport and all those murals, and I look at, people, are those hell pictures? Where there's like all these little demons all over the place, and people are looking up at the demons, or like, and you see stuff coming out of their mouth, and whether it's like spores or snakes or whatever. And I look at the congregations and when all the different gatherings, whether it's political, religious, or scientific gatherings, and I see hell. I see hell. And I'm like, whoa, that's what they mean by like Dante's Inferno. That's Dante's Inferno. Is the 7 levels, 7 levels of hell, 8 levels, 9 levels, because of the amount of microbes that are weaponized against your food supply and in your environment, and people are taking them on when they hang out together. And so a lot of ways the religious folk create their own hell. But you can't tell them that. You can't tell them that. The power is in the pain. The power is staying at home, staying safe. The power is not being out there with a bunch of people. But that's how our society has been constructed. But we were comfortable with the rate of death and the rate of decline and the rate of birth. But now it's accelerating. Are you going to be accepting that now? Oh, I forgot. That's right. It's your time. God said it was your time. Okay, well then fine. You are your own God. You will determine what your time is going to be. Self-fulfilling prophecy. So it's quite fascinating watching all of this transpire. It's quite fascinating. And so those of you who are seeing the writing on the wall are getting yourself prepared and set up to really battle this from the safety of your own home. And you have things set in place, put in place. and you know what you have to deal with. And when you go out there in the public, you are battling people microbially. And not everybody's going to win that battle. It'll be like the rapture for some people. All right, bye.